My name is Ria. I never thought I would become the kind of woman who learns how to survive loss in public while bleeding in private. I once believed love was enough to protect me from the cruelty of the world. I believed marriage was a shelter. I believed family would hold me when grief became too heavy to carry alone. I was wrong. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps these real-life inspired stories reach hearts that are silently carrying their own battles. Ria met Aaron on a rainy afternoon when the city was quiet and tired. She had stepped into a small cafe to escape the storm, her dress clinging to her skin, her hair damp at the edges. Aaron was sitting by the window, tapping on his phone, annoyed that the rain had delayed his ride. When their eyes met, it wasn't love at first sight, it was curiosity. The kind that lingers. "Is this seat taken?" Ria asked, pointing to the empty chair across from him. He looked up, startled, then smiled. "No. Please. Sit. You look like the rain tried to win today." She laughed, shaking water from her bag. It almost did. They talked for an hour. About work. About dreams. About how the city made people feel small sometimes. By the time the rain stopped, something quiet had started between them. Something gentle. Months later, Aaron stood in front of Ria's family living room, nervous in a simple shirt and pressed trousers. Her mother, Male, watched him with eyes that measured worth in money. Her elder brother, Cade, barely hid his contempt. "So what exactly do you do?" Male asked, her tone polite but cold. "I work in logistics," Aaron replied. "I'm building my own delivery startup. It's small now, but—" Cade laughed. "Small businesses die small. My sister deserves stability." Ria squeezed Aaron's hand under the table. "He is stable. And he is kind." Male leaned back. "Kind doesn't pay hospital bills." The words stayed with Ria long after Aaron left that evening. But love has a way of making you brave in the face of small cruelties. She married him anyway. Their marriage was simple. No luxury. No big ceremony. Just laughter in a rented hall, borrowed chairs, and a promise spoken with trembling voices. "I choose you," Ria whispered. "I choose you," Aaron replied. "Even when life is hard." For 2 years, they built a quiet life. Mornings with shared tea. Evenings with tired smiles. Nights with whispered plans of a future they could not yet afford but believed in. Then the call came. Ria was at work when her phone rang. An unfamiliar number. She almost ignored it. "Is this Ria Dane?" a man's voice asked. "Yes. There's been an accident. Your husband was involved." The world narrowed into a tunnel of sound and light. The hospital smelled of disinfectant and despair. Aaron lay still, machines breathing for him. She held his hand, warm but fading. "Don't leave me," she whispered. "We still have plans. You promised me a small house with noisy windows. You promised me mornings." His eyes did not open. When he died, the silence was loud. The funeral drew people Ria did not recognize. Her family came dressed in black, their faces arranged into polite grief. But behind the condolences were whispers. "He had no property," Cade said to Male, not bothering to lower his voice. "This will be a burden on her." Male sighed. "I warned her." After the burial, Ria stood alone by the grave. The earth was fresh. Her hands trembled. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm still here." That night, she returned to the small apartment she and Aaron shared. The walls felt wider. The bed felt colder. She curled into his side of the pillow and cried until morning. The next week, Male called her to the family house. "You can't stay in that place alone," Male said. "It's not good for you." Ria nodded. "I know. I just need time." Cade crossed his arms. "Time doesn't pay rent. Move back home. But listen, we can't keep supporting a woman who chose badly." Ria stared at him. "Chose badly? You married a man with nothing," he said. "Now you have nothing." The words cut deeper than grief. She realized then that her family saw her loss as a failure of judgment, not a tragedy of the heart. Later that evening, her younger sister Lynn pulled her aside. "They're saying you should give up the apartment. They think you're wasting money on memories." Ria's voice was small. "It's all I have left of him." Lynn looked away. "I'm sorry. I don't know how to help." That was the moment Ria understood. Grief had drawn lines, and her family had chosen a side that did not include her pain. She returned to the apartment and packed her things slowly. Each shirt of Aaron's felt like a goodbye. She kept one sweater. It smelled faintly of soap and him. One night, sitting on the floor with boxes around her, she spoke into the empty room. "I loved you the best way I knew how. I hope that was enough." Outside, the city continued. Inside, Rhea made a quiet decision. She would not let their judgment define her ending. She didn't know how she would survive. She only knew she had to try. Rhea moved into a narrow room at the back of the city, the kind of place people used as a pause, not a destination. The walls were thin, the window faced another wall, and the nights were loud with other people's lives. Still, it was hers. She laid Aaron's sweater on the bed and folded it with care, as if he might need it later. The first week alone felt like learning how to breathe again. Every habit reminded her of him. 2 cups instead of 1, turning to speak into an empty space, reaching for a phone that would never light up with his name again. Work became her refuge. She arrived early, left late, and volunteered for tasks no one wanted. Her manager, Bex, noticed the hollowed-out look in her eyes. "You don't have to carry this alone," Bex said gently one evening as they closed the office. Rhea forced a smile. "I don't know how to carry it with anyone else." At home, the loneliness pressed harder. She tried to sleep, but grief came in waves, memories rising without warning. One night, she sat on the floor, back against the bed, whispering into the dark. "You said we would be okay. I'm trying to believe you." The calls from her family became colder. Mail phoned once, her voice clipped. "You didn't come for your brother's dinner." "I had work," Rhea replied. "You always have excuses now." Cade sent a message the next day. "Stop pretending you're strong. Come back home and accept help." Rhea stared at the screen. The help they offered came with rules: silence about her pain, obedience to their judgments, gratitude for every crumb. She typed, erased, then finally sent, "I'm learning to stand on my own. Please respect that." No reply came. Money tightened. Aaron's small savings covered the funeral and little else. Rhea sold her old jewelry, then some furniture. Each sale felt like letting go of another piece of the life she had imagined. One rainy evening, the power went out. The room fell into darkness, and panic rose in her chest. She lit a candle and sat on the edge of the bed, the small flame making the walls feel closer. A knock came at the door. She hesitated. "Who is it?" "It's Taryn." From next door, a voice answered. She opened the door a crack. Taryn stood with a small flashlight and a bag of bread. "Power's out everywhere. I had extra. Thought you might need some." Rhea took the bag, surprised by her own tears. "Thank you. You didn't have to." He shrugged. "Sometimes you do things because you can." They sat on the floor, sharing bread by candlelight. Taryn spoke about his late mother, how the house felt empty after she passed. "Grief doesn't ask for permission," he said quietly. "It just moves in." Rhea nodded, and refuses to leave. Over the next weeks, Taryn became a gentle presence, never pressing, always kind. He fixed a loose hinge, brought soup when she caught a cold, listened when the words came tumbling out at odd hours. Rhea felt the unfamiliar warmth of being seen again, and it frightened her. One night, after a long day, she found a letter slipped under her door. It was from Mail. "You are stubborn. Your choices bring hardship. If you return, we will help you. If you stay away, do not expect support." Rhea folded the letter carefully. The old ache stirred, the need to be approved of, to be welcomed back into a familiar room. She went to Taryn's door and knocked. He opened, concern in his eyes. "Everything okay?" She handed him the letter. "They think love is a mistake you pay for." He read it, then looked at her. "Love isn't a mistake. Sometimes it's the bravest thing you do." Rhea's breath caught. "I'm tired of being brave alone." "You don't have to be alone," Taryn said softly. "Not with me." The words landed gently, not as a promise of romance, but as a promise of presence. It was enough for that night. Weeks turned into months. Rhea took a small course in project coordination, studying late into the night. She applied for better roles and learned to speak up in meetings. Slowly, her life expanded beyond survival. There were setbacks, missed rent deadlines, days when grief pinned her to the bed. But there were also small victories: a promotion, a thank you note from Bex, a morning when she woke without tears. Her family remained distant. At a cousin's wedding, she stood alone at the edge of the room. Cade passed her without greeting. Mail nodded, distant as a stranger. Rhea walked outside, the music muffled behind her. The night air was cool. She pressed her palm to her chest, steadying her breath. Taryn called later. "How did it go?" "Like being invisible," she said. "You're not invisible to me." She laughed weakly. "That helps more than you know." There were moments when Rhea felt guilty for smiling again, for letting Taryn's jokes pull a laugh from her. She spoke to Aaron in quiet prayers. I hope you don't mind me learning to live. One evening, Taryn invited her to a small rooftop gathering. The city lights shimmered like distant promises. Music played softly. Laughter drifted. Rhea stood at the edge, unsure. Taryn offered his hand. You don't have to stay long. She took it. The warmth was steady, grounding. For the first time in a long while, she felt the world open just a little. As they stood together, Rhea realized her grief was changing shape. It was still there, but it no longer filled every corner. She could carry it without letting it carry her. Her phone buzzed with a message from Lynn. Mom says you're being difficult, but I think you're being brave. I'm proud of you. Rhea closed her eyes, the words settling into a place that had long been empty. Maybe family was not just the people who shared her blood. Maybe it was the people who chose to stand with her when standing was hard. She looked at Taryn, the city alive around them, and whispered, I'm not done healing. He smiled. Healing doesn't mean closing your heart. It means letting it learn new ways to beat. Rhea breathed in the night and let herself believe that rising didn't erase her love for Aaron. It honored it by choosing life again. The invitation arrived on a quiet morning, slipped beneath Rhea's door like a challenge. Her mother's handwriting was unmistakable, tight, controlled, careful with every curve of each letter. Family meeting. Saturday. Important. Rhea stared at the paper for a long time. Part of her wanted to fold it away and return to the life she had built piece by piece. Another part, the old part, ached for answers. Closure. The kind you don't get by walking away. Taryn watched her from the doorway. You don't have to go. I know, she said. But I think I need to. Saturday came with a heavy sky. The family house looked smaller than Rhea remembered, its paint dull, the gate creaking like it had grown tired of guarding old rules. Inside, the familiar smells stirred old memories. Mail sat at the head of the table. Cade leaned against the wall. Lynn stood near the window, eyes apologetic. We need to talk about your future, Mail began. You've been away too long. Rhea took a breath. I've been building a life. Cade scoffed. With what? Strangers and charity. Rhea met his eyes. With work. With effort. With dignity. Mail frowned. You could have had comfort here. Comfort that costs my voice, Rhea replied. I won't trade my peace for permission anymore. The room fell silent. Lynn stepped forward. She's changed, Mom. She's stronger. Mail's voice softened, but not enough. Strength is knowing when to return. Rhea shook her head. Strength is knowing when to rise and not look back. Cade laughed, sharp and dismissive. You think you're above us now? No, Rhea said calmly. I think I finally stand beside myself. The words surprised even her. She realized then how far she had come. The girl who once shrank under judgment now spoke without trembling. Mail sighed. We heard you're seeing someone. Rhea paused. I'm learning to let people be kind to me. That's not an answer, Cade said. It's the only one you need, Rhea replied. She stood to leave. Lynn followed her to the door. I'm sorry, Lynn whispered. I wish I had done more. Rhea hugged her sister. Do more now. Choose kindness when it costs you comfort. Outside, the sky broke into soft rain. Rhea walked away from the house without looking back. The old ache stirred, then settled. Closure didn't come as a grand moment. It came as a quiet certainty that she no longer needed their approval to move forward. Later that evening, Taryn waited with tea and patient silence. Rhea sat beside him, the day's weight finally lifting. How did it go? He asked. I didn't win them, she said. But I didn't lose myself. He smiled. That's the real victory. Weeks passed. Rhea accepted a new role at work, leading a small team. She rented a brighter apartment with windows that welcomed the morning. She framed a photo of Aaron and placed it on a shelf, not as a wound, but as a chapter that shaped her. One night, standing by the window, she spoke softly, as if he could hear her. I loved you. I still do. And I'm learning to live without losing what we were. Taryn joined her, careful not to intrude on the quiet. Their connection grew in patient steps, shared meals, long walks, laughter that felt earned. One evening, he reached for her hand. She let him. I'm not replacing my past, Rhea said. I'm expanding my life. I don't want to replace anything, Taryn replied. I just want to walk with you. Rhea nodded. That was enough. Months later, Lynn visited her new place. They cooked together, clumsy and laughing. As they ate, Lynn looked around. You did this. Rhea smiled. I chose to. The city outside hummed with ordinary miracles. People going home, lights turning on, lives unfolding. Ria felt the steady beat of her heart and recognized the woman she had become. Not untouched by loss, but shaped by it. She wrote a short note and slid it into the frame beside Aaron's photo. "Thank you for loving me when I was learning who I am." Then she turned to the future with clear eyes. Rising hadn't erased her grief. It had taught her how to carry it with grace. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that are quietly choosing to rise after love and family have failed them.